Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Robert Conley on NGSC Sports. And I'm sorry I'm a little bit late today, but we'll get started here and we'll move on through the show. And maybe we'll get to laugh after a while. I have a special guest coming on here later on. And she is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. She's from Pittsburgh, if I remember right. And you'll get a little bit of what you haven't gotten before here on Robert Live Tonight. Because when I changed the name earlier this year, about a couple months ago, things changed just a little bit. And now we are moving into a phase of making this show better, making things better for everybody. And one of the things that I am offering is small business people that are Pittsburgh Steelers fans. They can come on the show here and show people what they have with their business. So they can come on here, show us what they have, show us what their product or service is, and offer it to Pittsburgh Steelers fans. This is Robert Conley on NGSC Sports, and there's something different about my page here. I'm going to try to get it right. I don't know what the problem is. They changed something on me, but I've got it now. So here I am. I'm back, and everything looks like it's okay right now. But this is Robert Conley on Robert Live Tonight on NGSC Sports. And I want to later on give away a terrible towel. I have a few terrible towels, and I'd like to give one of them away later on. If you're going to be on here and you want to get involved, you'll make your comments, and then I will hopefully give away a terrible towel. I'm not a hockey fan. I like that Pittsburgh teams win, but I'm not a hockey fan. But I support the Pittsburgh fans that like hockey, that like baseball, as well as liking the Steelers. So if you don't hear me say much about hockey, and I know that they're in the playoffs right now, and I know that the playoff series is tied 2-2, and they're playing the Islanders, I believe. So they will be back on, I believe, when they come back on, when they play again this week is on Wednesday. And I'm not sure where they're going to be playing at, but they should be playing this Wednesday again, playing the Islanders. Okay. I don't know how many of you out there watch hockey, but I know there are some of you that watch hockey. I know that some of you like it just as much as you like the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I can understand that because every team in Pittsburgh wears the black and gold. And it's hard not to like the other teams if everybody's wearing black and gold, right? So with you liking the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, I understand why you like them. I understand how come things are the way they are with you and your sports teams and me and the Pittsburgh Steelers, because here I am. Last week I had an outing. Some of you got to see that. It didn't have anything to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it did have something to do with the black and gold, because my high school colors were black and gold, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers. As a matter of fact, our uniforms were black and gold, just like the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only thing that was different was the emblem on the side of the helmet. Instead of having the Pittsburgh Steelers logo, because we were not the Steelers, we were the Falcons. Then we had Falcons on the side, or FH on the side, but we looked like the little Pittsburgh Steelers with our uniforms. And so we are going to be having a special guest, Lily Garfield. Does anybody know that name, Lily Garfield? And if you don't know that name, you may know it after you view this show this evening, because I like comedy. I post things that I think are funny, and I make little jokes. And when I'm talking, I laugh, and people make me laugh when we're on here. So, I mean, I like comedy. And let me give you a little bit of insight here with this show this evening. I didn't know it was going to happen. I mean, I put it out there that I'd like to see small businesses get involved and come on here and advertise their goods and their services. And I got a few people that's on the hook. I don't know if they'll make it or not. I advertise for classy Stiller divas to come on here. And I hope that when I leave here and head back to Vegas in a few weeks, I can stop in a couple locations and show you a few classy Stiller divas live. Hopefully I can do that. I don't know for sure, but hopefully I can do that. Well, last week, I went to take a look at a job that I was going to give an estimate on. And I showed up, talked to this lady, Lily, and found out what needed to be done at the place that she was going to have some work done on. And then when I was sitting down figuring things out and trying to figure it out, conversation started, and I had trouble figuring out my estimate. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I had trouble figuring out my estimate because I was laughing. Okay, so when I start laughing, I can't do anything else but think about comedy. Okay, I can multitask usually, but if I start laughing, it's gone out the window. Okay, it's just gone. So when I was trying to figure it out, Lily was talking to me and she's making me laugh. And it started out, she asked me, was I a Pittsburgh Steelers fan? Because I had on a Pittsburgh Steelers hat. I always have on something almost every day of Pittsburgh Steelers. So she asked me, and she told me she was from there and she likes the Steelers. And then she started saying some other things. And I'm like, that's funny. That's funny. I mean, and it wasn't just one thing or two things. It just kept coming, and so I had a hard time figuring it out. But anyway, it was a pretty good estimate because, I mean, when I go into a house and I meet people to give them an estimate and I talk to them, most of the time it's the wife that's talking to me. The husband's just putting the money out. The wife's saying what she wants done. Husband's putting the money out. The wife's changing her mind, and things and it's conversations that happen. Okay. But this conversation was different. It was different because as I was trying to figure out what it was I was going to be doing, and I started laughing, I was like, you know what? You should come on my podcast because you're pretty funny. And then what response did I get? She tells me, well, I do stand-up comedy. I said, okay, all right. Let's get you on here then. And let's if you're sitting out there and you've had a hard day, okay, if you're sitting out there and you're at the dinner table, get rid of your drinks because I don't want you spitting them across the table. All right. If you're sitting at the dinner table, I'm warning you to just get rid of all of your drinks and don't put another bite of food in your mouth. Okay. Now, there's going to be a little bit of an issue when she comes on because she can't see you. And she's used to standing in front of people that are sitting in their seats. Okay, just like the Steelers playing in front of no audience is a little bit harder. So she's going to have to get warmed up here. Okay, Lily's going to have to get warmed up here, and I'm just telling you, it's Lily Garfield, and here she comes.
Hi, everybody. Hey, how are you, Robert? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Robert, I didn't know you were bald.
Really?
You had a hat on.
You couldn't see I didn't have any sideburns?
I don't look at sideburns on men. Sorry. Maybe sides, but not sideburns. Okay. Anyway, everybody, I'm happy to be here. As Robert said, it is really, really hard to do this without an audience. I've also had a hard day. That property he was talking about is my parents' condo. My parents are 94 and 91 years old, and they just needed to move into assisted living. And we'll get to that later, but we did a yard sale. This isn't my bra strap. It's my sunburn one.
Wow.
Okay. So, you know
Wow.
what? I had to put this on first time since COVID. That's another story. Lipstick and a bra. It's like a whole new world. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to thank you for having me be on. I worked in Ambridge, Pennsylvania at the Armco Seamless Tubular Pipe Plant from 81 to 83. That's dating me, as if my face didn't. And but that's okay. But I wanted to tell you one of the reasons I'm a Steelers fan. Not just because, actually, I'm from Columbus, but I lived in Pittsburgh for a few years. My first really big gig was on a cruise ship. And the Steelers had something to do with that. I was on this cruise ship, this big, I'm trying to get these production values right here.
Center yourself on the camera a little bit better. There you go.
Is that better?
Right there.
It's on my ironing board. I have to use the damn thing for something. Okay, so I'm on this cruise ship with my husband, and he can't hear. So we were sitting in the front row, which is dangerous when there's a comedian on a cruise ship. And I just went to the ladies' room, and I came back in, and here we go. And I sat down, and the MC, not the mental case, but the MC of the ship said, "You, come up here." And I said, "Oh, I don't think so." He said, "No, don't be shy." I said, "Oh, I am not shy. I don't think you want me up here." Said,
so
"No,
was he going to have you do a piece yourself, or you were going to be assistant?
No, you stop. Let me do my thing. My setup. Okay, so I go up there, and he just think he has Joe Schmo from the audience up there. Okay, see, the wife doesn't just say, "This is what I want, pay the money." She says, "This is what I want, shut up." Okay, so I go up there, and he says, "Hey, turn around," and he's trying to like auction me off.
Oh.
It's like, And I said, "Oh my goodness." So I did the turnaround. I said, "Hey, fellas, don't get excited. It's not fishnet stockings. It's my veins." Wow. Everybody started laughing. And he says to me, "Do you think you're funny? You want to do the show?" I said, "Okay." Took the microphone. I went up there, and you guys, do you know what? The Steelers had just won the Super Bowl the night before.
Oh, fantastic.
And that was my lucky charm. And I said, how about those Steelers last night? But let me tell you something I don't understand. And I know it's not just gentlemen, but mostly, what is fantasy football? Robert, can you help me with that? Like, what is fantasy football all about? I know there's something like called a fantasy formula, right? My fantasy formula is about great sex or great shoes, or great sex in great shoes. But it is not about football. I mean, let's face it. I call it making love. My husband calls it scoring. I call it birth control. He calls it a safety. Me, I call it foreplay. He calls it delay of game. Okay, so I mean, what is this fantasy football? I read something like there's depth charts. Depth charts. How does a woman look at depth charts? Do we look at his hands? Do we look at his feet? I mean, we're really trying to figure out those depth charts. And then if there's going to be a cheat sheet, girls, you know this. There's going to be a wet spot. Okay, so enough about the fantasy football and that kind of stuff. But that was a really fun cruise. And we made some friends on that cruise. Lawrence and Sheila, you know who you are from Canada. I probably shouldn't have used your real names. Our first night at the dinner table, Lawrence says, "Oh, yeah, my father died a year ago, and I got there before my brother did. And my mother said to me, 'Lawrence, you know Mikey, and I don't want his feelings to be hurt, but I want you to have something that was daddy's, that was really special and important.'" And he says, "What is it?" This is his first night at dinner. And he says, your father's penis pump. Now, he says, no, Mom, I think I'll pass. And that reminded me when my father-in-law of blessed memory died, my daughter and her cousin had to clean out his apartment and they found 6. I want to know, if the first 5 didn't work, why you waste your money on the 6th one. I mean, I was going to write a book called The 6th Penis Pump. Robert, how much time do I have?
How much fun do you have?
Time.
You have as much time as you
because
need.
I don't keep track, because once I get going about my father-in-law, I loved him. He was 95 years old when he died. Right after his 90th birthday, you have to understand, he was a widower at 69. He was a gambler, a player, and he met this really cute dealer in Atlantic City, which is where he lived. And she said, oh, I want you to meet my mother. He says, oh, I don't want to meet your mother. I want to go out with you. They ended up being together for 10 years. She was 36 years younger than he. But lo and behold, right after his 90th birthday, she tells him she's figured out that she's a lesbian and Amber is moving in with them. He called me. He was so upset. He said, Lily, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, I don't know, Dad. What did you say? I said, what any man would say. I asked if I could what? And they told me to mind my own effing business. And I said, well, he said, but you should hear the noises coming out of that room. I said, Dad, take your hearing aid batteries out. He said, there's a lot of batteries being bought in this joint. Anyway, he was really a lot of fun. He ended up with dementia. And then when he moved here, he was chasing me around for you know what. And I'd say, Dad, remember, I'm married to your son, and this really isn't appropriate. And he said, hey, you girls in the Midwest are prudes. But enough about him. Enough for me for tonight. I'm just going to go back. You started talking about hockey a little bit earlier, that you're not the biggest hockey fan. You know, that was my sport in high school. I played field hockey. I also played co-ed field hockey. And I want to know, why didn't they call the guys dangerous sticks? And on that note, I'll leave you with one more joke. You tall men out there, when people always ask you, did you play basketball? You just ask them if they played miniature golf. Thanks.
Thank you, Lily. I appreciate it. So that was Lily Garfield, and at some point she will be coming back on. I hope that she got your jaws aching just a little bit from you smiling and listening to her. And I will try to get her back on here during football season. Maybe she can come and stay longer next time. But I'm glad that she was able to introduce herself and give you a few smiles, a few laughs. And I hope that you enjoyed that. Fantastic, Michelle. I'm glad that happened. And so when she comes back, hopefully it will be during the season when we get a little bit busier on here and we have more people on here, and she can give you her new routine that she's currently working on. So that was Lily Garfield again, and thank you, Lily, for coming on, and we'll see you again later on sometime. So this is Robert Conley on Robert Live tonight on NGSC Sports, and I wanted to talk to you just a little bit more. I was rushing around and I barely got in here to start the show on time, so I don't have any material together so that I can give you information. I want to give a towel away, but I don't even know what I can do to give a towel away this evening, because I don't even have anything together to give it away, to give a towel away, a terrible towel. I don't have any videos. I don't have anything else to give you, because I was extremely busy today and did not have time to take off and get everything together. So giving away a towel, I need to think about, the only thing I can think of, and I know things are a little bit slow, the only thing I can think of is for me to write down a number, and you think of the number and then post it on the screen, And I'm not sure if I can see everybody's post because quite often it's not, let me see what's going on here. Quite often it's not as, what would I say, as strong. My signal is not as strong as I want it to be. So sometimes I'm not able to have all of the messages come up as I want to see them. And so here's what I will do. Here's what I will do. I will go ahead and say, I'm going to write a number down. You won't win during the show. I will have to look at the comments after the show is over and then see who was closest to the number. And you can go over, that doesn't matter. You can go over. You just have to be closest. So that's just example. Say the number is 50. If your number is 41, that puts you 9 points away from 50. And if somebody comes on and they're at 57, they went over, but they're only 7 points away, so they will win. So I'm going to write a number down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it up behind me, or I'm going to put it behind me after I write this number down. And let me see here. I've got a number, and okay, I've got the number written down. I've got it inside this piece of paper. I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to stick it right here. Okay, so I've got it there now. So give me your numbers. You go ahead and think of your number, and you will, I will let you know after it's over with. Or can we inbox the number? Type it on the screen, Michelle. Anybody else, type it on the screen. That way it comes up in the comment section of the video after I'm off here. Then I can take a look at the video only, because if I start sending it here and start sending it there, I'm going to miss somebody's number, and I don't want to miss it. So just type it in the comment box here on the show, and then I will take a look at them after the show is over with. Okay, that's what I need you to do. And as I said, the hockey is, this hockey team is still in it against the Islanders. I think their next game is on Wednesday. This is Robert Conley on Robert Live Tonight on NGSC Sports. Robert Live Tonight is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? And last week, the Steelers started selling tickets for the season. So if you don't have a ticket yet, you can go online and go ahead and find tickets for the games that you want to go to. I saw that some of the tickets were still available when I took a look. I didn't know exactly which game I was going to, but I will know next week, and I will go ahead and buy 1 or 2 tickets. And I'm going to be heading out to Vegas in about 3 weeks is when I'm going to be leaving here, possibly a little sooner. And then once I get back out there, I'll be playing Baccarat and Baccarat only. I'm having trouble playing Baccarat and working my regular job that I'm working while I'm here. Oh, you got tickets for the Steelers? Fantastic, Michelle. So then I will be coming back to Columbus and Pittsburgh once or twice this coming season. And here, if you're on here and you play golf and you live in West Virginia, Ohio, or Pennsylvania, or Maryland, I've got a few friends from the golf outing last week that want to go over and play in West Virginia. They want to go play at Ogilvy. So if you are interested, I'm going to be setting up some tee times over there, hopefully, to play at Ogilvy. What I'm going to do is I'll post something here on the site and also on my page. And if you want to go play, then it's going to be all black and gold. Okay. It's going to be all black and gold people over there. My high school, which is black and gold, and the Pittsburgh Steelers fans, which are black and gold. Okay. So if you want to play, it's going to be a weekend when the Steelers have a game, possibly when they have a preseason game. But I want to make it so that it's going to be warm enough that we're not going to be starting play at 40 degrees in the morning. Okay. So it's going to be early, probably in September. So if you want to play, send me a message. And Michelle, you've got to give me one number. You've got way too many numbers up there. Scratch all of those numbers out and give me one. I'm going to accept the last one that you give me. So if you want to play, send me a message, come on here and say that you're interested and get in touch with me so that I can get a head count of how many people will be playing. Ogilvy is on the west side of Pennsylvania, and I understand they have 3 golf courses over there, and they've got very, very nice courses. Okay, really nice courses. I mean, PGA level courses over there that we can play on. So if you're a good player, if you're above good, if you're above average, and you want to play on a really nice course, meet some new friends, and play with us that wear the black and gold, because it's not just a game, it's a lifestyle. So if you want to come and play, get in touch with me. Let me know that you want to play. Get a buddy, get a team together. You know, women can play if they want to play. It's fine. They can hit from the ladies' tees and be in the game. So get your team together, foursome, and we'll probably play for some money as well. So like a skins pot and maybe a couple little bets here and there. But we could play 1 or 2 days over there, like on a Thursday and a Friday, and then take a day to go to Pittsburgh and then watch them play on Sunday. That's what I'm talking about, having a good time for a weekend, because we can play a couple of rounds. You know, they've got 3 golf courses over there, from what I understand. So I'm not sure how well we are going to do this season. I know what I want to happen, and I know what I think can happen, and I know how well the team can play. And Ben is back again this season. I know there was some concern that he wasn't going to be back, but Ben will be back this season. And we picked up some really good players, which I showed you on the last show that I had, that we got out of draft. We picked a couple up out of free agency. And I think, I know that we had a hole last year, but I think we've got the whole field. I think that the players that have left us from the defense and the offense, I think that we've got those holes filled in as well. So I think if we can have practice as normal, so that the timing will get together and everything will work right, I think that we are going to be Super Bowl bound this season. We got off the mark last season. And when we got off the mark, I'm blaming it on the COVID. I'm blaming it on all of the days that we had off. I'm blaming it on our schedules being changed. I'm blaming it on all of that stuff, because when it came down to Super Bowl time, now, and people want to say, oh, you can't blame it on this, you can't blame it on that, you can't blame it on that. But here's what happened came Super Bowl time. The next to the last game of playoffs, okay? The next to the last week of playoffs, before we go into the conference championship, I came on a live and I started voicing my opinion on what I thought was going to happen. And it wound up happening in the Super Bowl. And some people, you can't say that. You can't predict this. You can't predict that on any given Sunday. This is what happens, and you don't know what's going to happen. Well, here's what I did. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I did. And this is not the first time that I did it. Remember, I'm a dot connector. Okay, I'm a dot connector, and I figure things out. It's not always the official's fault. It's not always the player's fault. It's a combination. It's not the coach's fault. The coach does what the coach does, and then it's left up to the players to do it when they get on the field. Coach is there to make corrections, yes, but the coach can't control what happens on the field. So what I did, it was the Super Bowl, the conference championship, and then the other playoff game that was still left to be played. So what I, excuse me, what I did was I came on live and I started explaining what I thought was going to happen. And when I started explaining what I thought was going to happen, it started in the basement of a job where I was working at. And I kept running it through my head, okay? I kept running it through my head. How can the Steelers go 11-0 and then hit a brick wall? And I started thinking about it and thinking about it. And I said, oh, okay, these guys are mentally tired. They're physically burnt and they're mentally tired. And so I started telling people that that's what the problem was. And people were, it's football. It's football. Well, it's not just a game of football. I've told you many times before, it's a chess tournament. It's a chess tournament. And you play and you play and you play to get into the preliminaries. You're in the preliminaries all season long. And then you're playing to get into the semifinals. The semifinals are the playoffs. And the finals is the Super Bowl. So the teams are playing this chess tournament because, yes, they're playing this week, but they have to see 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance as well, even though they're playing right now. A chess player, if they're going to be good, they're going to have to see 10 moves in advance. Now, how can you run all of that through your head when you've got all of these chess pieces, a total of 64 pieces on the board, and you've got to see 10 moves ahead. And if this move doesn't come and you thought it was going to, now you've got to recalculate. And now you got to see another 10 moves ahead. And if that move doesn't happen and a different moves happen, now you have to recalculate again. Okay? It's just for instance, a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences. Okay, listen, I don't believe in coincidences. Each chess player has 32 pieces on the board. I'm sorry. Each chess game has 32 pieces on the board. Each chess player has 16 pieces on the board. The NFL has 32 teams on the board every season. I'm telling you, it's a chess tournament. And so I was in this basement working, and I'm connecting dots, and and why the Steelers hit a brick wall. And I said, okay, so they're mentally tired and they're physically burnt out. And then 3 days later, an interview was going on, and the interviewer said that I talked with these team members, and 3 of them told me that they were mentally tired. How do you become mentally tired? How does a football team become mentally tired? Well, for one, they're looking at their schedule and they know what they are planning to do and they're working towards that. And then if somebody puts an obstacle in the way of their schedule, it's playing on their mind. And then somebody else puts another obstacle in the way of their schedule, it's playing on their mind. And then they start getting tired, more and more mentally tired. I mean, if you go out for warm-ups, and you're heading out onto the field to play and you trip and fall, something's going to be in your mind for a minute, especially if you're a professional, because you're going to be thinking, who saw me trip over the grass? Okay. I did it when I was a freshman. I forgot I'm out there playing, and you get to play and you forget all of the equipment that you have on. And I went to kick the turf, and my cleats stuck in the ground, and I fell. There was nobody around me. And now I'm thinking, who saw me? Did anybody see me fall? Who saw me fall? And that's on my head. And I've got to get rid of it, because I've got to get back in the game and play. Well, when somebody puts a roadblock, they put a wall, they put a hurdle in your way, you're thinking about it. Yes, you're a professional, but you're still thinking about it. And if there's more than one, you're like, what's going on here? Well, the Steelers had 2 full weeks of COVID off. They were off COVID for 2 weeks. What team won? Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Buccaneers were off 0 days for COVID. So I started putting this together, and the person I was working for started to come downstairs and check on the job, because she was checking on the job on a daily basis. She came down about 4 steps. I said, I'm upset. She said, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. She said, no, you're not. I said, yes, I'm upset. She said, why? And she gets into sports. She watches sports all the time. I said, because I just figured out that Roger Goodell has engineered for Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl again. She turned around and went back upstairs. When I got off work, I called my friend in Vegas. I said, look, I'm sending some money. I want you to take whatever I send and put it on Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl. She said, but the Super Bowl's not even here yet. I said, yeah, I understand that. But the playoffs are not even done yet. I said, yes, I understand that. Well, how are you going to put this money on Tampa Bay? I said, because I figured out that Roger Goodell has engineered this again, and he's going to use COVID, and it's going to be the best Cinderella story ever engineered by the NFL for Tom Brady to win a Super Bowl. And my ex-co-host said, engineered? I said, yes. Watch what happens. I said, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay? I've been wrong before. I said, but if I'm right, maybe you'll start believing me when I tell you I'm a dot connector. So my friend put the money on Tampa Bay to win the Super Bowl 3 weeks early. And we watched the playoffs, and Tampa Bay wins. And why was it the best Cinderella story ever engineered? Because Tom Brady left the New England Patriots, where they've been winning or not, where they've been winning or not. And so he left, and he went to a team that hasn't won the Super Bowl in how many years? They haven't even seen the stadium in how many years? And he calls in and he pulls in Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown's still getting in trouble. And so Tom Brady says, hey, I'm going to take responsibility for this guy. I'm going to babysit him. He's going to live in my house. I'm going to make sure he does what he needs to do. And then Tom Brady, keeping himself in the limelight, walks into his neighbor's house as if you don't recognize your own house. What are you talking about? So then he brings in Gronkowski, and he brings in this guy, and he brings in this guy, and he brings in this guy. And he puts together a team. How can this happen? I won my money on the Super Bowl. Okay, I won the money on the Super Bowl. I've done it before. I'll do it again, because as long as Roger Goodell's there, you can believe there's some manipulation going on. Let me give you an example here. About 5 years ago, maybe 6, when I was visiting Las Vegas to play, I was at one of the major casinos on the Strip. And I was done playing, and I had almost 2 hours left, just over 2 hours left to get my ride from the hotel over to the airport. And so I went up to cash my chips in. I had a Steelers hat on, I had a Steelers shirt on, and the little woman behind the cage where I was cashing my chips in at the cashier's window, she saw my Steelers gear on. So she knows I'm into it because I'm in Las Vegas wearing Steelers gear, right? So she comes up to the window and she says, "Do you remember that game when the lights went out?" I said, "The college game?" She said, No, the pro game." I said, "Oh, down in New Orleans." She said, Yeah, the game down in New Orleans." I said, "Yeah, I remember that game." She said, "We were about to lose our butts, and then the lights went out, and everything was okay." So the casino where you do your sports betting at was about to lose a lot of money, a lot of money, a lot of money. And then the lights went out, and the game got delayed. And then when the lights came back on, everything was different. And the casinos came out winning. It's like somebody made a telephone call and said, "Hey, there's got to be some kind of interruption because we're not going to make the money. Everybody bet this way, and we're over here, and they're about to take our money. So we've got to fix this. We've got to fix this." And they did. And then another time, another game. This game capped it off for me. This was about 8 years ago. Pittsburgh Steelers was playing Baltimore, in Baltimore. And Steelers were driving down the field. And the Steelers had a handle on the game. It was theirs. And they were driving down the field. And Ben threw a ball to Hines Ward. Hines jumped up, caught the ball, came down immediately, got helmet-to-helmet contact. Somebody hit him helmet to helmet, knocked him out. Hines drops the ball, and the Ravens recover the fumble. No helmet-to-helmet called. No defenseless receiver called. Nothing like that. So the Ravens got the ball. Then the Ravens started going the other way. They went about 25 yards, something like that. And then they throw a pass down to about the 25-yard line. The guy catches the ball, takes a step. One of the Steelers hits him in the chest and tackles him and gets a penalty flag. Defenseless receiver, give them 15 yards. Give them 15 yards. And then they go in for a touchdown. So what happened there? The officiating robbed the Steelers of 7 points and then gave another 7 to the Ravens. And I was upset. And so I called my lawyer. And I told my lawyer what I was looking at, and it was a problem. He said, "Yeah, I've been watching that." He had already been paying attention to it. I said, "Well, I'd like to put in a lawsuit." He said, "Well, make up a file and bring it to me." I said, okay, I'll make up a file for you and I'll bring it in to you. And what was I going to sue? Who was I going to sue? Why was I going to sue them? I was going to sue the NFL's officiating team, the NFL, for making bad calls and making the wrong calls exactly when they know it's going to make a difference. Now, the NFL puts the schedule together. It's not a few guys in the back room writing this down and writing this down and writing this down. They're using supercomputers. I know they are. They're using them. I'm just going to tell you, I believe that they're using them. Okay? And these games are engineered, these schedules are engineered to bring in the most advertising dollars. And the way you bring in the most advertising dollars is to give the people the greatest show on earth, which is what I've been telling you. This is the greatest show on earth. Hurry, hurry, step right up, right? What you are about to see today in the center ring is the Pittsburgh Steelers taking it all the way down to the wire to get into the playoffs, and then the Kansas City Chiefs knocking them out, and they're not even playing the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what you're about to see today. Last week, this team had to do this. This team had to do this, and this team had to do this for the Steelers to even have a chance. And this week, the Steelers have to do this. This team has to do this. This team has to do this, and this one over here has to do this. And so the Steelers win. This team does what they have to do. This team does what they have to do. And this team has to do what they have to do, and they did it. And this team over here takes it all the way down to 40 seconds of their game, and they don't do what they have to do.